I am a private therapist these days, and I see people individually, and not just for addiction. I do all types of therapy, but I've worked in addiction for 20 years. Marijuana is in the same category with crack cocaine, heroin, PCP, drugs that are, very dangerous to people, and definitely have no medicinal value. If the American Medical Association says that it has medicinal value, then I think that needs to be looked at. Even the government recognized that it helps with glaucoma patients. But I think its biggest use is cancer. I mean, cancer patients lose their appetite. They experience a lot of nausea and vomiting that can be eradicated by the use of marijuana. It's not nearly as damaging to the body as alcohol is, and we barely protect people from that except with the drinking age. So I don't believe that we need to protect people from marijuana, but if we're going to say, all right, we're prescribing it for legitimate medicinal use, we shouldn't be telling everybody they can get it and giving cards away, easier than you can get a driver's license, you can get a card to smoke marijuana. But I think there should be some burden of proof that there's some illness for it to be treated for, until they make it legal, if they go that way. But if we're going to say it's legal for medicinal use, then that's what it should be legal for. Not everybody can get it with a doctor's note. I have no bias against marijuana being legal. As I said, as a professor here, marijuana is less damaging to the society than alcohol is, and alcohol is legal, and we're certainly not going to take that right away anytime soon. We saw how that worked. So why can't we let people make choices in that regard? But at the same time, then I see people making really poor choices, with their freedoms, like not putting their children in seatbelts, for example, and their children are running all over the car. So we need laws that say you have to put your child in a seatbelt. I think we're just a very excessive culture, it's just how we've come about. We want everything instantly. We're very much into instant gratification. If it were decriminalized, let's say, I think there would be a rise in its use. And then I think it would probably level off and we'd get bored with it and, just use it regular, like most people use alcohol with some moderation. When you look at, 90% of the population is probably using moderately and reasonably, but there's this 10% of the population, which is the exact number of people that are addicted or alcoholic. They're using 50%, like they're gobbling up a huge percentage of, from all the statistics I read, our prison systems are clogged with nonviolent drug offenders. So why would we keep putting drug abusers who are nonviolent, okay, there's no violence involved, why would we keep putting them in prison? There's always a lot of controversy about the gateway theory. The gateway theory says that when people do one substance, that it can lead to other substance use. In actuality, the gateway theory says that the first drug used by people generally in the order that they're using it is beer or wine. So beer or wine is the true gateway drug. Then comes hard liquor and/or tobacco, okay, which are also drugs. And then the third stage is marijuana, and then the fourth stage would be harder drugs. The thing about the gateway theory that makes it controversial is that marijuana is the first illegal drug used. Nobody says tobacco is a gateway drug, right? Nobody says alcohol is a gateway drug. Nobody's saying that, even though they're the first stages in the gateway theory. Statistically, though, 80% of people who smoke marijuana only smoke marijuana. They never go any further than to harder drugs. They never go further than marijuana. So if 80% of people that smoke marijuana, obviously the gateway theory is kind of misunderstood. I want to believe we're an enlightened country. I really do. I want to believe, that we're not going to let our biases or our prejudices or whatever dictate our laws. That's what I want to believe. So I think if we behave as an enlightened country, we will see that it has medicinal value and that people are responsible for their own decisions, and they need to be held accountable for them, and eventually it'll be legal. I think it's going to be a very gradual process. I think, you said what, about 14 states now, I think it is? Yeah. And there's, so there's 36 more to go. I think it's going to go, there'll be little bursts, and then there'll be nothing for a while, and then other little bursts, and maybe 10 years. I think 10 years, maybe it's used medicinally and decriminalized.